A very good evening and welcome to this Sunday's edition of News First Weekend, coming to you live from our News First studios in Colombo. I'm Arundhati Naik. Let's start off with a look at the stories making headlines this evening.
Private bus strike temporarily called off through the intervention of the President. Northern Province receive housing loans for the first time from Minister Sajith Premadasa. Basil Rajapaksa's new political force.
මේ රජයට විරුද්ධව ජාතික බලවේගයක් ගොඩනගන්න ඕන.
පැරදිච්ච වෙලාවෙම ඉක්මනට සාර්ථකයට නමාගෙන වෙද්දක් ගලවගෙන සීට්කේස් එක පැක් කරලා බඩිකාවට ගිය මිනිස්සයා. මට මේක දැකලා hina ගියා.
දැන් ඉතින් එහෙම මේ පෙරලි කරන්න හොඳ වයසකුත් නෙවෙයි.
Minister's relative involved in substandard tyre retreading in Ampara. An Action TV expose. Venerable Tissamaharama Indrananda Thera appointed as the head of the Mahamantinda Pirivena.
The island-wide private bus strike, which was scheduled to commence at midnight, has been called off. This decision has been taken following discussions with President Maithripala Sirisena.
Members of the Private Bus Operators Union participated in a special discussion with President Maithripala Sirisena this morning. Union representatives who participated in the meeting noted that the President had promised them an audience on Wednesday to resolve their issues.
The discussions held with the President were very fruitful. He listened to us. It was really fruitful. The Minister of Transport is the one who pushed us to hold the strike. That responsibility should be borne by him. But the President listened to us patiently and arrived at a decision that he will focus his attention on the issue during the Cabinet meeting. Thereby, as a mark of our respect for the President, we called off the strike action temporarily. The Minister of Transport did not even speak to us for 10 minutes. He told us to commence a strike if we can. We will show the Minister how we strike. But the Honourable President, even after holding a discussion with us for 2 hours, did not get up from his seat even after the conclusion of the discussion. That is what is called democracy. We have great respect for that. He listened to all of our problems. We have heeded his request and have temporarily called off the strike action.
Public transport services are used by the ordinary public for their day-to-day travel needs. News First inquired into the impact.
Private bus owners contribute to most of the country's public transport system. The associations claim that around 20,000 private buses are utilized daily. However, these private bus owners associations prepared for another strike demanding that the bus fares be increased. According to the national policy, the revisal of bus fares will take place after considering 12 factors, including the fuel price, the prices of bus spare parts, and increase of service charges. The public expressed these views on the revision of bus fares.
We are inconvenienced when that happens. Prices of everything are increasing. The poor are in a helpless situation.
All the prices have increased, and when the bus fares also increase, the people will be greatly inconvenienced.
We are poor people. We find it so hard to survive. See the prices of goods. Tell me, how can we survive?
Housing loans were distributed to the families in the Northern Province in Jaffna for the first time today. The event took place under the auspices of Minister of Housing and Construction, Sajith Premadasa.
300 families in Kilinochchi district were benefited with a housing loan of 32 million rupees at an event held at the Cooperative Building Auditorium in Kilinochchi.
Maithripala Sirisena Athikaru Janadhipatitumat honda pirisindu bahu.
His Excellency the President Maithripala Sirisena is a good and clean Buddhist, and so is Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe. However, some are trying to portray themselves as much stronger Buddhists and cause chaos in the country and destroy it into pieces by arousing racism. We will not allow anyone of any might to disrupt the oneness in the country. Creating and arousing divisions, racism and party differences within the country and in turn destroying it into pieces is not a part of being a clean Buddhist.
Meanwhile, a housing loan of 82 million rupees was distributed among 800 families in the Jaffna district at an event held at the Veerasingham Hall. There is a leader among us who is being created from within our party in the future. We are honoured by this. The current government is working towards building this country. We suffered for 25 years. The education sector especially was lagging behind. There is now a need for the education to be rebuilt and provide jobs for our youth. However, this was not done accordingly in the past. Therefore, this government must function equally to accomplish these objectives. Our youth are on the streets today. This government must provide jobs to the graduates who were suppressed in the past. Meanwhile, the foundation stone was laid for the housing project to construct homes for 25 families in Peramolvatta, Agrapatana.
The upcountry community cannot forget Premadasa. When MGR passed away, every junction in the upcountry were lit with lamps. The only time such a thing recurred was when President Premadasa passed away. Premadasa is the only one who came forward to guarantee the heritage of our community within a day. They did this out of respect for Premadasa. Today, his son Sajid Premadasa is also carrying out various programs for the development of the upcountry community.
Government medical officers are preparing to launch yet another token strike tomorrow. The token strike is being launched in protest against the private medical college.
The Government Medical Officers Association will launch an island-wide token strike from 8 am to 12 noon tomorrow. Two chairmen of the Medical Council resigned over the issues surrounding this private medical college. Both Professor Lalita Mendis and Professor H.H.R. Samarsekar were influenced to step down. His house was bombed. Former Registrar Dr. Nonis was attacked. All of this was surrounding the private medical college. In the future, the government may have to face an international inquiry over the harm caused to the integrity of the medical service.
පරීක්ෂණයකට මුහුණ දෙන්න මේ වෛද්‍ය සේවාවේ ගුණාත්මක භාවයට කරන හානිය සම්බන්ධයි. එම වර්ජනය කරන කාලය තුලදී සියලුම අත්‍යවශ්‍ය සේවා.
During the course of the strike action, all measures have been taken to ensure that all essential services will function without any disruption at all hospitals in the island. Our primary objective is to give the government the message to resolve this issue before it becomes more sensitive than it already is and to avoid any hindrance to the general public.
රජයට ලබා දීම තමයි මූලික අරමුණ.
Meanwhile, several other trade unions in the health sector have pledged their support to the Government Medical Officers Association.
Tomorrow's trade union action is just the beginning. If measures are not taken to close this institution down, we state at this point of time that we will go in for a continuous trade union action in the future. 10 trade unions will be taking part in this trade union action. This is a 4-hour-long token strike. Several other unions attached to the Health Ministry have already announced that they too will be taking part in this token strike.
The JVP alleges that the country is experiencing a serious downfall in its economy. These views were expressed at a conference themed tax burden, debt and the broken economy.
People living close to mountainous regions are constantly afraid of the mountain giving way. Those who reside close to a river are under the constant fear of the river overflowing and flooding their homes when it rains. People living close to camps are afraid of them exploding at any given time. Now the entire country is wondering as to when and how the economy will explode. We do not know. If we do not receive a massive loan from the world very soon, the economy will explode to a point where the salaries and wages cannot be paid. At the rate they are taxing the people, they will impose a tax even on breast milk and even the pet dog at home.
Speaking in Badulla today, Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe elaborated on the country's economic plan and future course of action.
Another phase of the program to promote the United National Party membership was held at the Badulla town under the auspices of the Prime Minister.
It has been a year since we came to power. Many are asking what we have done. Well, we did not inherit a country like Switzerland, Dubai nor Singapore. We were left with a country which was robbed and destroyed. So it must be rebuilt now. The world never even looked at us. We were called a country of murderers and a country full of thieves. But today, we have turned the world towards our side. We can go anywhere we want to. We took over the world's biggest swimming pool, which is in Hambantota. In a couple of years, I will fill it up with ships. Matala is in a situation where only one flight lands a day. But plans are set to bring it to a level where at least 50 flights will land per day. A Chinese company has undertaken this contract and are due to pay us for this.
Thereafter, the group, including the Prime Minister, toured the town promoting the party's membership.
Also in local news, addressing an event held in Nathandiya today, State Minister Palitha Range Pandara expressed the following views.
Leaders of two political parties may have two different opinions and two different policies. But issues can be resolved by bringing these two opinions and policies to a neutral point. Yesterday, the President, as he said before, was able to appoint a new central bank governor without causing any issue to the government nor parties. We will go beyond this point and look into the needs of the people of the country and come to various and important decisions.
Welcome back. You're with News First. Now, speaking at a public meeting in Bandarawela today, former Minister Basil Rajapaksa said that the formation of a new political movement has commenced in Badulla.
The Gamananvana Ratapubudana Ratavesubale public meeting took place at the auditorium of the Bandarawela Urban Council this morning.
A
national movement together with progressive political parties must be formed against this government. It is important for us that we organize this within an electoral frame. No matter how much of a public force we have, if we lose in elections, neither the people nor the country will reap the full benefits.
State Minister Wasantha Senanayake claimed in Pulonaro today that persons who fled in the face of political defeat are now attempting to form anti-government forces.
Who has returned to the country to create an anti-government force? Basil Rajapaksa. He is the one who packed his suitcases and fled to America when his brother was defeated. When things are going good in the country, he comes here, and when things don't go the way they want, they get on a plane and go back. But for us, we have only this country, whether it is in a good state or not. When things go wrong for Basil Rajapaksa, he can go back to America. He's the one trying to form an anti-government force. I laughed when I saw this.
Minister S.P. Dissanayake says that he will not allow any force to destroy the Sri Lanka Freedom Party. The minister made this observation during an inspection tour of the proposed bridge that joins the Unanthana and Navanaliya villages.
I don't
know what the joint opposition says, but if there is a division within the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, then the SLFP will face a major defeat. Therefore, I still believe that if we can move ahead without breaking up the party, we will be able to win. With the party, I regret that I left the party back then. I could have had a massive victory if I had left the party once again at the recent elections. But I took a difficult decision and stayed on with the party. I am not of an age to engage in such revolutions anymore. Therefore, my aim is to expand the party and the alliance and move forward.
You're with News First, and up next is a look at Action TV.
An investigation has been initiated into the substandard quality of tyres produced by the only retrading factory owned by the Sri Lanka Transport Board. The Deputy Minister of Transport told Action TV that investigators have already taken custody of several samples of tyres that were produced by this factory but were rejected by various depots on the grounds of being unusable. The factory, which falls under the Galoya project, was handed over to the Sri Lanka Transport Board in the 1980s. With the exception of rural depots, this is the only workplace that adds economic value to the SLTB. In 2008, a considerable sum of public funds was spent to acquire modern tyre retrading technology for this factory. While this factory has provided an efficient and fruitful service for the SLTB since then, Action TV unveiled yesterday that as of last year, many depots have ceased sending old tyres here for retreading, noting that subpar raw materials were being used in the process.
The raw material is being supplied by Minister's relative. We have been informed that the raw material is substandard. We are continuing with investigations into this.
As a result of the substandard tyres being rejected by the depots, the retraded tyres are being stored at the factory. Action TV also pointed out yesterday that even the Ampara depot, which is located in close proximity to this retrading factory, opts to send tyres to a private company in Polonnarua for retrading. The normal lifespan of a tyre retraded using the modern technology at the factory is about 3 months. However, many of the tyres produced here since last year have lasted less than a month.
සාමාන්‍යයෙන් ටයර් 20000ක් 10000ක් 12000ක් එක අවසරයකට එද්දී
It is possible for such a situation to arise for about 1 or 2% of the tires, when considering that about 10, 12 or 20,000 tires are remanufactured here. When we saw through Action TV that many of the tires were subpar. The tender expires in another month. We have decided that if there has been any irregularity, the tender will not be granted to these persons when tenders are called again.
ලබා නොදීමට තීන්දුව කරනවා.
Venerable Tissa Maharamendrananda Thera has been appointed as the head of the Mahamantinda Pirivena. The position became vacant following the passing of Venerable Gatamani Dhammakirti Thera.
Tissa Maharame Indrananda Thera, who was appointed as the head of the Mahamantinda Pirivena in Mathura, was born on the 23rd of June 1983. After entering the Buddhist order in 2005, he received Upasampada at the Malwatu Vihara. Indrananda Thera, who received his Pirivena education at the Migadaya Pirivena in Mathura Fort and the Mahamantinda Pirivena in Mathura, holds a BA Honours degree from the Buddha Shravaka University in Anuradhapura. The Thera, who visited the Samadhi Foundation of UNPMP Buddhika Patirana, met with the students at the foundation. I doubt that there is any other MP who engages in social service as much as he does in Mathura or anywhere else in the country. There are some who do social service, but they use the money that they get from various sources on social service to cover up their dirty work. Some don't want to talk about their roots, but MP Buddhika Patirana proudly says that his parents engaged in traditional paddy farming. Some forget even their parents when they achieve heights in life. They forget the temple, the teacher, but I greatly appreciate the humble qualities in Buddhika Patirana. I function as an ordinary parliamentarian. I'm not a cabinet minister. I'm not a minister or a deputy minister of the government. It is a challenge that I don't have these positions, but I face this challenge with a smiling face. I have proven to the people of Mathura that although I don't have positions or titles, I am capable of doing service to the people of the Mathura district. I have been able to do something that other politicians and cabinet ministers do not do.
While weeks have passed since the floodwaters in Colombo receded, many families are still displaced. The leader of the Janasatha Peramuna, Venerable Batharamulle Silaratana Thera, visited the camps which sheltered the displaced families at the Umugilia grounds today.
During elections, the politicians come to people begging and pleading for votes without even worrying if the people are living on rent or not. All of these are broken promises. Even we contested for elections, but we did not lie and will never lie to the public. We keep our word by doing things the straight way. I request the good governance regime to take necessary steps to provide these people with lands or housing.
2 youth were killed and another injured in a motor accident that took place in the Soisapura area in Ratmalana early this morning. The deceased victims are residents of the Murutua area.
The incident had occurred when a car travelling from Murutua to Colombo had veered off the road and crashed into a lamppost. Police said the accident had occurred when the driver had lost control of the speeding vehicle. Area residents had rushed 3 youth who were injured in the accident to the Colombo South Teaching Hospital. The 2 individuals who sustained severe injuries died upon admission to hospital. We heard a loud explosion. When we stepped out to see, the lights were out. The vehicle was smashed. It was a doctor here who actually saved their lives. One had died on the spot. We took the other one in the ambulance. Meanwhile, 18 people were hospitalized following an accident that took place in the Tispanepura area along the Galnava Tambuttegama main road last night. Police said the group had been travelling for a musical show in the Tambuttegama town last night when the lorry they were travelling in had veered off the road and crashed into a tree. The accident had taken place on a lane which was completely damaged during the recent floods. The victims of the accident, which took place around 11 last night, were residents of the Makulava area in Galnava. Area residents together with the police had taken measures to admit the injured to the Tambuttegama base hospital. Among the injured are 6 children and 9 women. Area residents said the delay in the renovation of the road was the reason behind the accident.
It has been months since this road was damaged. Another accident took place yesterday as well. Travelling in the night is hazardous, so we request the authorities to renovate this road swiftly.
Still in local news, a man was shot to death early this morning in Navarahene area in Radampula, Dikwella.
The victim was returning home on his motorcycle after attending a funeral. The shooter had fired at him when he had walked up to the road again after parking his motorcycle at his home. The victim was a 48-year-old man from the Madahene area in Urugamua, Dikwella. The magisterial inquiry into the incident was carried out today by Mathur Additional Magistrate Pavitra Sanjeevani. Police stated that the search for the perpetrators has begun. Skeletal remains were recovered from a marshy area in Kadolana, Rangalla on the 18th of June. While the incident was suspected to be an act of murder, a suspect was arrested by the Mitiagoda police last evening. The victim, named Kombo Roshan, is a 37-year-old from the Navaganna Kolandeni area who went missing on the 8th of May. Roshan's family said they had received an anonymous letter after the disappearance claiming that the victim's body was in the Kadolana area in Rangalla. The suspect arrested by the police had 2 firearms and 7 rounds of ammunition in his possession. Police noted that the suspect was the victim's nephew. The Mitiagoda police are conducting further investigations into the incident.
In sports news now, Royal College Colombo overcame arch-rival St Thomas's College Mount Lavinia in the semi-finals of the President's Trophy Knockout Rugby Tournament. The Royalists, who won 24-15, will face league champions Isipatana College, Colombo, on the 9th of this month in the final. The semi-final match worked off at the Royal College Sports Complex ground in Colombo 7. The Thomians opened the scoring in the 8th minute of the game, but at Lemons it was at all level at 10-all. The lads from Reed Avenue came back strong in the second half to add 14 points, while the Thomians could only manage a single try. And with that, we wrap up tonight's edition of Weekend Primetime News. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm Arundhati Mudalnayaka. Have a great week ahead of you. Good night.
www.newsfirst.lk. Feedback at Newsfirst.lk.